Hey everyone. Is that good? We are discussing how you're supposed to start the video because apparently I can't say hey y'all. So Joanna, I'll take that. I'll take that Joanna check. So anyway, I am making a tutorial because a couple people asked how I made the mask for Sean and I. So I'm just going to do a quick tutorial to show everybody how I did it. I'm not taking credit at all for the process because I actually found it on YouTube. I think the lady's name was Marlena Homemade or something like that. I'll link her YouTube video in the comments of this video. So if you want to see her do it, I'm sure her video is a little more professional than mine. But in any case, let's get into the materials that you need. So the first thing you need, of course, is going to be some fabric. And I went to Walmart because, of course, I can't find any mask anywhere. Nobody can. But the only fabric I could find was Batman. And so this is this almost feels like the material that you would use to make like pajama pants, probably. It's a little fleecy. So that was fine because I have to make masks for Sean and Xavier. So I got this fabric for them. And then this fabric that I used for my mask actually was my dad's fabric. So this fabric has literally, Jaya and I were just talking, it's been in the same bag laying around the house, moving from place to place with us for like 25 years. So that's where I got that fabric from. So that, of course, you need some sort of fabric. And I read an article that said any type of like cotton fabric is probably the best. This fabric just feels like, you know, if you were making a dress or whatever, that type of fabric. You will also need, I'm using my cutting mat because you do need to cut your fabric. You don't have to have a cutting mat to do this, but since I have one, it just makes it easier. I'm going to use my fabric cutter. It's a rotary cutter. It makes the lines a lot smoother. That's why I like to use it. But if you don't have a rotary cutter, you can use a regular pair of scissors. I like to cut with my yardstick. It's easy. It helps me measure. And it also helps me line everything up really good. The ones I made yesterday, I didn't put wire in, but I did find some copper wire. This is 16 gauge wire that I got from Walmart. So I'm going to try and put this around the top so it can kind of like impress to your nose so that it's more fitted. And then for the wire, you'll probably need some wire cutters. So I have my wire cutters. And then something to mark your measurements. And Jaya, can you go downstairs in, I'm not sure, maybe in that, I need my fabric glue. It's like a little thing of glue. Look in my craft closet in that round thing on the top. They drive me nuts. See, this is what I'm talking about. In my craft closet, there is a round bowl thing, because she had to get in camera for me to tell her this. And it has all these different glues and stuff. And one of those little bottles is a fabric glue. Okay, and so I am going to, since this fabric is fun fabric, and I still have to make one for Xavier, I am going to do Batman. He's on my nerves, right?
What you gonna do next?
So, the first thing I'm going to do is measure. So you need to measure 25. This needs to be 20, not 25. I'm sorry, 20. Oh, you know what else? I forgot to tell you. You need an iron for this. So I have my iron here set up on the table. You need this to be like, in her tutorial, I think she did 21 centimeters. I'm going to do mine. I like to give a little extra fabric, so I'm going to mark mine off at 22 centimeters, which is, yes, which is about a little bit over 8.5 inches if you're doing it in inches. So that's going to be going one way, and then the length you want to go 30, I think she went 32 centimeters. So I'm gonna go a little bit bigger than that, and I'm gonna do 33 centimeters. Thank you. And so, was there one that said fabric?
No, there's just that one, and then there's a smaller one of that they all say khaki.
Okay, so I'm just going to use this glue. I'm sure that'll probably work. And so then I'm going to mark it off right about, yes, please go double check. There. And so now I'm just going, I have it marked off, I'm just going to start cutting. And so I use my yardstick as a guide for my cutter. And this is, it just to me is much easier than the than using regular scissors, because it literally just cuts right into the fabric. And if you're doing other projects, like I use this for a lot of other stuff that I do, and you can do more than one. Like I could put a couple layers and cut it at one time. So that's what I do. Okay. And so then I'm just going to just make sure I got it lined up the correct way. There you go. And the little corner got, I'm gonna use that and cut the little corner. Alright, so now we have our fabric cut. So it's 32. Well, I cut like 33 across, and then like 22 or 23 across. I'm just going to take off some of the frayed edges. Okay. So I'm going to just cut off some of the frayed edges. Okay. And now I'm just going to iron. Can you guys see? I just got my iron set up here. I'm just going to iron the fabric a little bit because it's a little bit wrinkly. And so make sure you set your iron to whatever temperature is right for the type of material that you're using. Okay? So that's just to make it nice and straight. And so then what you want to do is you just want to fold it in half with the pattern. Whichever part is going to be on the outside, you want to have it on the inside. So simply just fold it in half like that. And then you are going to fold down the first flap, one flap of the fabric like this. You're going to fold down, and you want that piece of flap to be about 1.5 centimeters, which is like almost an inch long. So once you have it folded down, you can see it's just fold it down like that. You're just going to use the iron and just press it so that it stays. Okay. And then once you have that, you're going to use that as a guide for the opposite side and just fold that side down so that they are equal. So that's on the other side. And then I'm going to just press it again. And so then once you have it pressed, you are going to just kind of fold down a little bit, a couple inches, so that you kind of make pleats, because the pleats are what is going to allow you to vary the size, like make it cover more of your mouth or more of your nose. And then once you have that folded down a little bit, I would say you fold that down probably like another little inch. And that kind of looks like that, okay? Oh, actually, I'm sorry, I did that wrong. I should have folded both at once, so I'm gonna just press that one out. See, you make mistakes, but you figure it out. So once you have those two folded on each side, you're gonna fold the whole thing down. So both parts together, you're just gonna fold it together. Oops, I almost pressed on my cutting mat. I would have been mad. Alright. Jade over there making fun of me. I can hear it. And then you're gonna do one more fold down. So you should have now like 2 pleats. I'm gonna hold it up. See, you just folded it down once and then fold it again. And now when you measure this, I use my centimeter. When you measure it, it should measure about 9 centimeters from top to bottom. And I think I'm a little bit short. Yep, I'm measuring like almost 8, which if you're making it for an adult, you want to try and level out your pleats so that you actually get to 9. So if you need to get to 9, just let that bottom pleat out a little bit so you get to 9. But since this is for Xavier and his mouth is a little bit smaller, I'm not going to worry about it. And so then I'm going to just press it again. Alright, so now what you should have is a piece of fabric that looks kind of like this. So you got your top flat folded over and you got some pleats. Now what you want to do is you're just going to open it up so that it's all opened up with your pattern on the outside, or the pattern that you're going to have on the outside. Now you need to add the elastic. Now, I could not find any elastic at Walmart. All the fabric was gone, all the elastic was gone, so I had to improvise and get a little crafty. So initially I bought these hair ties that I was going to use as the ear band, which I think they might still work. I just cut off the little plastic part that was holding it together and it looks like this. So you can adjust the size if you want to. If you have to use something like that, you could probably even get the smaller headbands that look like that. They're just stretchy headbands. You could probably use, if you have an old bra that you need to get rid of, you could probably use the elastic strap off of that. What I did was I had these pajama pants, which are actually, Sean was so heartbroken because these are his favorite pajama pants that I wear.
No, they're not.
He loved these pajama pants.
No,
he always
not.
tell me how sexy I look in them.
No.
So,
No.
so I actually had to get rid of these.
Yeah, all right.
I actually had to get rid of these. So what I did was I ripped open the waistband and I'm using the elastic from the waistband. So if you have an old pair of pants or stretch pants or your kids' pants or something that you can get rid of that you won't really need, that's fine. And I'm just going to use a little bit of, my fabric cutter and just cut like a little, you know, your ears aren't that big, or some of them, some people's ears aren't that big. And you just cut a little strip. See? So I cut a little bit of that. And see, it's just a square. And so then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use my yardstick and I'm going to just cut this in half. So that way we have 2 squares.
Alright. Nope. Alright. Oh, I didn't cut, so I gotta press down a little bit. Alright. Oh my goodness, I'm just not cutting it correctly. Let me stand up, because I need to, it's just easier for me to cut. Alright. Finally. So now you have it, 2 little strips for your ears. I mean, not the prettiest, but we're improvising because
We're going to need some straight pins. Did I tell y'all that in the beginning? I didn't? Okay, well, now I'm going to tell you. So you need some straight pins. And what you're going to do is you're going to take the piece of elastic and you want to pin it to each side of the mask. So you're going to pin it
You need to cut it.
inside.
Cut it.
Get a couple pins out. You just, I know you guys can't see it, but I'll show you. And then make sure it's straight. You want to pin the first part like near the top pleat, and then you want to pin the second part near, like where that center, where you had it folded in half. You want to pin it right there. Okay, so you want to pin it so it like looks like this. See how they're inside? They're facing inside, so the loop part should be going inside, not hanging off the side of your fabric. And I'm just going to do the other side real quick. And try and make them even. Try and make sure that the, you know, they're even apart from each other for each ear. And also try and make sure that they're the same length, because that would be kind of awkward, right? So we got that. And then just gonna pin the last little bit. Alright, and so now it should look like this. So you just have them like that, right? Now that you have it like that, you're just going to close up your pattern on top of each other. So you're just going to do it like that. Just make sure that your two top pieces are equal. You could even put a pin in the middle so that when you're sewing it, you make sure it stays where you want it, like that. And so then you're gonna need some thread. All right, you're gonna need some thread. I'm using white because that's what I had. You just want to thread your needle. This one is threaded from what I did last night, so I'll just do a knot in it. And I'm not gonna show you the whole sewing part because that's kind of self-explanatory. But where you want to do is you just want to hold it, and then you're going to start at the end where the two pieces meet. See where the two pieces meet, and then you're just going to start sewing it, and then you're going to sew all the way from here all the way down to the bottom. And then when you get to the bottom, just cut off your thread, flip it over, and same thing. Oops, sorry. And then flip it over. Then you want to start from the outside and go in, just like you did before, okay? And so, if you don't know how to sew, I'm assuming everybody knows how to sew, but if you don't, you just gonna take your threaded needle, which you kind of probably will need a sturdier type of needle, and you just come in one side, and then you go as close to that stitch as you can on the opposite side. And then you just want to do that all the way. And the way I learned how to sew years and years ago, this is not my my expertise category, but you use your two fingers as a guide. So you kind of hold it so that it's like that, because when you're coming from the back, you're kind of using this nail, your pointer fingernail, as the guide on the back, and then you're kind of using your nail for your on the front, your nail on your thumb is kind of the guide. And then you just pull it tight and then go all the way down. So you want to do that. And then we'll go to the next step. Just make sure when you're sewing this part, when you get closer to your elastic bands, you want to make sure that they are towards the end and they're held in the right spot, because you're going to have to sew through them to keep your elastic band in your mask. So you just want to make sure. And usually when I get close to it, I just pull the pin out so it's not in my way while I'm sewing it. And I make my stitches when I'm in the elastic band, like I try to do them as close as possible. That way it's a nice, good, tight stitch and they won't fall out once you're trying to adjust the mask, or, you know. close to the end. And you also, while you're stitching, you got to make sure that you hold your fabric, that you are holding your fabric, your pleats together, because you need to sew through your pleats too in order for it to have that pleated look. And if you can't find fabric, or you don't want to go out to get fabric, just be creative. Like, do your kids have an old shirt that they don't wear anymore, or an old hoodie, or you know, an old pair of pants, you know, maybe just something cotton, maybe even a bath towel or a hand towel or something like that that you don't mind cutting up. You could use that instead of trying to go out and fight the crowd to find fabric. Excuse me, can you keep your ratchet conversations off of my video? Thank you.
Dip from her live, yeah.
Right, dip from my live.
All the people in your video know me.
Not all of them. I have a whole audience that you're not aware of. Sis. Okie doke. So now we are at the end. Both ends are all sewed up. So now what you want to do is, this is the part where we flip it inside out to see what it looks like, but I want to put a wire in and see how the wire, so let me see which, I'm gonna flip it inside out just so you can see what it's supposed to look like. Take out your pins because they will stick you. Ouch. Okay, I think I took all of those out. And so this is what it looks like. It's just pleated, you know, and so when you put it on, it stretches out. So that's the purpose of having it pleated. And then you can see the straps are in there, nice and sturdy. They aren't gonna come out. And it's empty. So in here, this little pocket, that's where you could put, like, if you have a filter or whatever that you want to put in there to give you extra protection, you can stick it in there.
I can see you.
So it kind of look like that. All right, but I'm going to flip mine in for 1 second because I want to put a nose wire so that he can squish it up to his nose. So let me see which side I want to do that on. I think I'm gonna do it on the side that faces down. So I want mine to be on the side that faces down. So I'm gonna just flip it over. That is this side. And right under here where we folded it, I'm just going to take a piece of my wire. And this wire, like I said, I got it from Walmart out of the craft section. Like if you go to the part where they make, like, they have the stuff for like the beaded jewelry, it was right over there. I'm gonna just cut a piece that's big enough to fit in there. Right. And I'm gonna just curl it under a little bit because I don't want it to like pinch him and hurt his nose. So I'm gonna just, the sharp end part of it, I'm gonna just kind of squeeze it together. Just keep it straight. Now this part, if you feel like it, you can go ahead and just sew it shut so that the wire stays in there, because you don't want the wire to fall out when you put the mask on. But I don't feel like sewing all the way down there, so I'm going to use this quick dry tacky glue. And this is for it says it's quick drying and fast tacking all-purpose adhesive. I'm just going to put a little bit of that on the fabric and close it up, because that way then when he goes to put the mask on, the nose piece won't fall out of the little thing. Oh, you know what? I'm thinking too, if you have hot glue, I could have just used my hot glue gun and hot glued it, and that would have worked perfectly fine too. And then flip it back over, and now you got your little mask, and you can adjust it to your nose so that no contaminants get inside your face mask. So thank you for tuning into my tutorial. I hope you like it. Give me some hearts. Leave your comments. Deuces.